Beyond the shore, pirates and the Somali Navy exchange fire. Some of the straight bullets hit villagers in the town of Basaso. This ship, hijacked by the pirates, was freed along with its crew following the gun battle.
We are dead and born. You know, what I can say, dead and born. At 68 years I am dead and born.
It was the first large merchant vessel hijacked in Somali waters since 2012. That was when international Navy stepped up patrols and ships transiting the Gulf of Aden took on board security. A NATO naval force pulled out of the area in December, citing a decline in pirate attacks. A European force remains. And while they have a mandate to protect these waters, they're not empowered to block illegal foreign fishing fleets that contribute to the economic despair that drives piracy.
The fishing communities, just like the communities inland, are desperate, starving, there's a drought. And when you see sitting there just off your shore a foreign fishing vessel that you know is hoovering up millions of dollars worth of bluefin tuna, you're going to feel pretty upset.
Somali fishermen say they've taken up arms to protect their shoreline. They say Yemeni and Indian boats routinely enter their waters illegally and cut their fishing nets. A lack of Somali government surveillance has led armed groups to extract fines, which in some cases look a lot like ransom payments, and this has shot up in recent months. Whether piracy will become big business again on Somalia's coast is unknown. What is clear is that it thrives in a place defined by illegal overfishing and poor out-of-work fishermen. Randolph Nogle, The Newsmakers.
Well, to discuss this now, I'm joined by Andrew McLaughlin from Nairobi. He's the Program Officer of Global Maritime Crime Program at the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us. These latest incidents, are they just an anomaly, or are the pirates back in business?
I certainly wouldn't say it's an anomaly. I wouldn't go so far as to say the pirates are back in business. I would say they are to an extent, but there's a number of elements to the question. Firstly, I think the extent to which they come back relies heavily on the international community response in the next few months. And if it's not strong, I think we'll see a larger resurgence. If the response is effective, we may see it decrease again. But I think it's important to note, piracy never went away. The pirates still existed. The desperation in Somalia was still there for young men with no other opportunity. And the business model, as piracy became more difficult, shifted into other areas of maritime crime, but the business model and the networks were never disabled. They were just dormant.
You say the desperation for young men in Somalia. Is that, in your interpretation, the root cause? Are you certain of that?
I think it is certainly one of the key root causes. Young men in Somalia, and there's the fishing element as well. Men who were working in fishing have been pushed out of that industry by illegal foreign fishing. And you couple that with the desperation of the drought, which is a new element, and the ongoing factor of no alternate livelihoods for young men. I think it is one of the key root causes, if not the root cause.
Do these pirate groups operate like cartels of the sea or cartels of the beach? I mean, are there big ones and small ones and medium-sized ones and so on?
There certainly are. They say that there's 8 pirate groups who are active at the moment. And these are predominantly formed along clan lines. As you probably recognise, Somalia is a clan-based society with 4 major clans and then a number of sub-clans underneath. So predominantly a group will be formed along one clan line, and they'll have different elements of sub-clans within the broader group. And that's for reasons such as facilitation of perhaps weapons, movement of money, and also access to different beaches which may be controlled or in the area of influence of a certain other sub-clan.
And Andrew, you said in your first answer, you said that if the international community doesn't do enough, then perhaps the pirates will be back in business. So let me ask you, what do you want the international community to do?
There was four measures which helped to suppress piracy in the last 5 years. And those were capacity building by organisations, and UNODC played a big role in capacity building. And one of the key factors that addressed the pull, so one of the key elements addressing the pull factors of piracy was UNODC's piracy prosecution model, which enabled international navies who caught pirates on the high seas to hand them off to other East African nations and have them prosecuted on their behalf. Because before that happened, it was a catch and release policy whereby if you were caught, there was no effective measure in place for you to be prosecuted. So the navies would take your weapons and other pirate equipment like ladders, and you were then free to go back to shore and try again. So that was number one. The second was obviously the international navy presence on the Horn of Africa. The third was the International Maritime Organisation's Best Management Practice 4, which was guidelines for the shipping industry on how to make yourself a harder target for pirates. So that involved putting up razor wire or barbed wire, charging fire hoses, and basically making the ship look hard. So if a pirate looks at it, they think, let's not go for that one, let's go for another one. And part of that was also keeping effective lookout and for merchant ships to transit further from the coast and at higher speed to get out of the danger area quicker. And the last measure was embarking private armed security teams into merchant ships. And I think the reason we've seen pirate re-emerge is perhaps complacency, and there's also financial factors for all of those four elements have seen everyone become, people have become slightly complacent and have toned down those measures, and we've seen a reduction in the Navy presence. And I think given all of those factors, it was a matter of when, not if, piracy re-emerged.
Well, you've given some good advice here. Hopefully the people that matter will be watching and heeding that advice. It's a fascinating, if somewhat worrying, development happening off the Horn of Africa. Andrew, it's been good to talk to you. Hope to have you on the program again sometime soon.